All right, let's continue here now. The Eastern Cape Education Department has set aside 1.6 billion rand for school nutrition this financial year. Education MEC Fundile Gade has assured the public that all schools have received the funds to purchase food. More than 1 million pupils depend on the nutrition program in the province. This comes in the wake of some schools in the province who have not received funds. SABC News reporter Abongile Jantjies has more.
Eastern Education Department has just concluded a media briefing where it touched on a number of issues which include infrastructure, nutrition, safety in schools. The MEC Fundile Gade has committed that the schools they are attending to issues of infrastructure, shortages of teachers. But let's bring him in. A very good afternoon to you, MEC. Thanks a lot for joining us. We have seen the province of KZN experiencing issues of nutrition, and I see that here in the province we've budgeted at least 1.6 billion rand, where at least 1.6 million learners will benefit from. Will we see any challenges there?
No, we have learned a lesson in terms of the relationship between your systems and the tranche payments that are expected to be done by the Department of Education. Yes, of course, the dates, the shifting of the dates, as the DDG Jwakati has actually alluded into, has given us a bit of a challenge, precisely because you have to be sure of whom you give money to, because remember, the provisioning of resource in education goes to learner. We are having a learner-centered model of schooling system in the country. So whatever that you do must be relating to an individual learner. So hence you needed a bit of a scientific verification of who are you talking about. But at a strategic level, that does not suggest that the money should have not been there at an appropriate time. So that you have a week that learners were battling to get food. But however, we have done that on the 9th of May. Monies have already been given to school. Last week we were busy with the school funding norms, so that also those monies in terms of the periodic schedules are there, and also the money for the ECD centers that must be transmitted to schools, to ECD centers, so that you build your efficiency of the system, but also don't postpone what should have been done today with the hope that we'll be doing it tomorrow, because probably tomorrow might not be there for you.
You spoke of also the issue of scholar transport. You want to minimize that by building more hostels within this financial year to alleviate accidents where children are taken to school. So in that nature, has that begun, or I understand that it's within this financial year, but has it begun?
Yes, we have already allocated money to Kucha to build hostels for us for 6 schools. You'll remember that we have got 24 mega schools that we built in the past 3 years, which we handed over them last year. Those schools are quite big in terms of numbers of learners that are transported, with a huge risk in terms of the road infrastructure network. That is a bit a challenge in the province, especially during these trying times of climate change. So you needed a bit of an alternative way out on how to mitigate any challenge that might obstruct you from obtaining the targets that you have set, because the targets we have that speaks across all grades. It's not a grade 12 target. It's an overarching target for all grades in the system. So building hostels and boarding facilities for bigger schools reduces the risks of scholar transport that are inherent either of the accidents that we have already been observing, or kids not arriving at school in good time precisely because of weather conditions or because of the roads that are a bit a challenge in the province.